So welcome to Tard Talk.
Yo.
No Josh.
Again. Does he even love us?
I don't think so.
Doesn't even love us anymore.
No.
We did nothing except make fun of him all the time.
Hot take, we made fun of Josh all the time. I'm just kidding. We love you, Josh.
Come back to us.
Please. Nah, he just had to work late again.
Yep. Making that money, though.
Yeah. He's a truck driver, so he drives all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the times when he shows up, it really just depends if he was close enough to home when he made his last delivery.
Yep.
So Devin, I'm gonna let you. I'm actually gonna try to get into the habit of like keeping my hand on the mic stand, so that way when we turn, well, we don't have to go that far, but just
I am.
so that when we turn, because we watched the last video and we do think we actually have the audio fixed, but it just didn't pick up very well if we were farther away. So I'm gonna try to keep my hand here, so if I turn to talk to Devin, I could turn my mic with it,
Right.
and then we could just talk.
Yeah.
So, but Devin, we're talking about a topic that is near and dear to your heart.
I don't know if we will go that far.
I don't know, but you spend a lot of time in it, so
I don't know if it's called... It's my great curse.
Every time I move my hat, those things want to fall off, so I was like, I took them off.
No, so apparently...
But I will let you take the lead and tell the people what we're talking about.
So I got poor Eric into the polemics against Islam.
More particularly debating Islam.
Yeah, that would be polemics. Yeah.
And we've said this before, but we'll say it again. We are Christians.
Yes.
We're not Muslims. We're not Hinduists or anything. We're Christians.
Yes.
So we don't agree with Islam, which means we are going to speak against Islam.
Yep.
If that is a problem,
and the thing about us,
let's move on.
We might have qualms about talking about politics. That is not true about religion.
Yeah, 100%. It's like
religion is by far more important than any kind of politics.
Exactly. So it's like, we'll talk about that. Again, we don't want to be... We want everyone to have a good time here. But politics is very divisive for no reason. There's no point to being that divisive for politics. But...
At least religion has a reason to be divisive.
Exactly. Religion, these are two very obviously opposing beliefs that accomplish... Well, they're supposed to accomplish the same goal, but they do it in drastically different ways. And here's the problem. One of them is correct, and the rest is not. So we are more than willing to be that blunt about our faith.
And you may tell us how wrong we are in the comments.
Yes, and then we will not heed any of it.
Pretty much.
We'll just be like, we got that one dude on the Iran one. and I basically read that and was like, okay, and just moved on with my life.
You just click him and like, okay.
He's like, stop posting on the internet. And I'm like, no. No.
It's like, 9.
No, that video will be out by the time this one's out, but the one Pixel. But that part will be coming out by the time this video is out. So.
Right. But yeah, so he's entered his first not really debates, but comments against
the thing is
the Muslims, and he did not know what he was getting to.
No, and it is like the worst way I've ever had fun in my entire life, pretty much. Because the way we talked about it off camera, it's like golf. Because anyone who plays golf knows that is the most infuriating game you'll play. I play golf. I'm terrible at golf. I think my average is like 125 for shooting at golf. I'm horrible. And it is the most infuriating game you'll play. You'll throw your clubs, you'll stab them in the ground, you'll cuss out the ball, you'll scream to the heavens and stuff. And then by the time it's all over, you're like, that was a lot of fun. When are we going to do it again? It's just like, golf is the worst way to have fun. And for some reason, like, golf beats us and then tells us we like it. And we're like, oh yeah,
I do like that. It's like, it hurts so good.
Exactly. So yeah, it's I have some fun with it, but there are some things that I read. I'm like, what is wrong with this?
So what have you learned so far about the Muslim community?
Nothing is consistent.
Correct.
That's the thing. Nothing's consistent. There was one guy that first of all, actually I feel like I should premise with it. The group that we're in, where we're supposed to be engaging debates, feels more like rage baiting than anything else.
Mostly is. Yeah. Here's the problem. That's how all of them are. There is no actual like debating. It's just Muslims and Christians like having at each other.
Yeah.
But that's how it is in real life too. So it's not like it's any different in real life. Even in their official debate, if you watch an official debate, at some point the Muslim is going to lose his mind.
Right.
And like so there's actually a story that I've told you about David Wood, right?
Yeah, that name sounds familiar.
So David Wood, he's one of the current leading polemicists against Islam,
mm-hmm.
but he's the one who converted Nabil Qureshi,
mm-hmm.
And Nabil Qureshi was a very famous apologist for Jesus and specifically against Islam, and those two were had a team together and all that, and then of course Nabil ended up dying of cancer, and then it was just David. But there's a story he likes to always tell about how they were watching a debate, and I don't remember who the debaters they mentioned were, but it was a Christian and a Muslim, and very if you one of the Christian debater was William Lane Craig. So, and he's, of course, he's very calm. He doesn't speak loudly. He doesn't get all riled up. He just speaks very intellectually, because that's what he is, right? But the other guy, by the end, he was absolutely losing the debate, and he just started yelling and screaming at him and just calling and just all kinds of stuff, right? Well, at the time, Nabil was still a Muslim, and David was a Christian still, right? Well, always been Christian, but so when he's like, well, what did you think of Nabil? What did you think of the debate? He's like, oh yeah, and I can't remember the Muslim debater's name, but anyway, say, yeah, he really won. He did. He's like, and David's like, what? How, what do you mean? And he goes, well, yeah, because you can tell that he had righteous anger toward someone who's blaspheming God, and he's like, he clearly was just mad that he was losing. So So that's when he discovered that Muslims have a very different view on how you address debate, really.
Right.
And the thing is, and that's why I've actually, because I used to be the William Lane Craig kind of guy, right? Just just try to have an intellectual. Now, I will make fun of Muhammad as many times as possible because that is what gets their attention.
Right.
That is what makes them realize, oh, you're passionate, therefore you must actually be serious about what you believe.
Right.
Now they won't take it. They'll be like, why are you disrespecting Muhammad? It's like, because he deserves it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a reverse psychology with them. It's you have to engage with them, basically fire with fire.
Right.
You're not the way you would normally evangelize to any other person on planet Earth is the exact opposite way you have to engage with a Muslim.
Okay, so I'm not doing anything wrong then.
Pretty much.
Okay, because
there are those rare occasions where, and usually it's more westernized Muslims who are more sensible toward Western culture.
Right.
That might help a little bit. But if they're straight from Pakistan or anywhere of those places, and even if they come here, if you go to Dearborn, you better be ready to just be just drilling at them.
Right.
Don't be nice.
Yeah.
Because they won't be nice to you.
Yeah. Because
that's take no quarter, give no quarter territory.
Right. Because I'm looking at some of these debates again. It's mostly rage baiting. Also, side note: if I get a video for you, could you edit it into this part? Because the funniest Muslim thing I've ever seen is a German Muslim speaking in German, giving a sermon. And that, I don't know why. I don't know what he's saying. I know I don't agree with it because he's Muslim, but that is the funniest dialect I've ever heard in my life. So I'll find the video and send it to you. If you don't want to put it in, that's fine. Maybe I'll make that like the short or whatever to advertise this video.
Fun fact about Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
He actually said multiple times that he wished Germany had been a Muslim country, not a Christian one.
Right.
Because of their stance against the Jews.
Yeah. But according to the Muslims, Hitler was a Christian.
Yeah, but that was one of the things we saw. And it's like, and they listed like 6 different people, and 4 of the 6 were all atheists.
So, I thought 5 of the 6 weren't Christian.
Oh, sorry. 4 of them were atheists, and then one of them was a Hindu.
Right.
So
because I'm looking at it because George Bush was on that list. I think it was W.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one was from like the 80s, and then the other one was from 2000.
So the first one was HW, and then
HW. Okay.
Just regular W.
I was like not even 2 when George Bush took office. W.
He was the first person I voted for.
Yeah, I couldn't vote. I think I was still in diapers by the time he took office. So I was like, I'm too young to really remember him. I remember Obama being president, but my parents were very good about like not drilling politics into me at an early age. They were just like, let him be kids. He's a kid. Let him be a kid.
Right.
So yeah, I never paid attention to Obama's presidency because I was not even a teenager when he first took office, so it was irrelevant to me. And then yeah, so but beyond that. But yeah, so like there was that picture though, where it had, I think it was Mao, it had Hitler, it had Stalin,
mm-hmm.
George W. Bush. Everyone was saying that other guy was Muhammad, but I didn't think how true that was because first of all,
that was Ashoka. They were just messing with him because he looks a lot like Muhammad.
Yeah.
He looks a lot like him.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, all these were Christians and they committed like mass murder and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, so the only person on that list that might have been Christian, again, I said might have because I don't remember anything about George W. Bush.
He was.
Okay. So I was like, or
at least he claims it.
Yeah, in an effort to not bear false witness, I was like, okay, I think I heard somewhere some time ago that he might have been a Christian, but I don't remember exactly how that went, so I'm just going to say may have, just to be safe, because I never really saw that dude in anywhere.
The irony is that George W. Bush only went after Muslims.
Exactly.
So they're just salty about him.
Right, so
Same
it was like,
Trump.
Yeah, so it was like, I literally was like, okay, so the only person on that list that might have actually been a Christian was George W. Bush, and that was a war y'all started,
right?
It's like you can't start a war and then get mad when your enemy does war better than you,
right?
Oh, and then I added on there. I was like, Muslims are just weird people. It's all kill the infidels and jihad, and then the moment the infidels start fighting back, it's like, why you persecute Muslims? We're peaceful people.
Hey, fun fact: the Arabs were big fans of Hitler.
Yeah.
They were on his side.
Exactly.
The Muslims loved him.
Mm-hmm.
So, in fact, you might have heard of this guy, Saddam Hussein,
mm-hmm.
built his entire country based around the ideas of Hitler. He was a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why.
Exactly.
But yet somehow they want to throw, oh, Hitler was a Christian. It's like, then why were you all on his side?
Right. It's so weird. There was that other guy. He posted a picture that said of Jesus as an AI, ChatGPT spit out of Jesus, pointing at the camera with the caption of like, "Don't worship me, I'm not God" or whatever.
Right.
And so I actually trying to be intellectual about this, went in and went into the comments and just asked the question, do you care to elaborate on your claim? Because calling me an idiot does not make it true.
That's what we call ad hominem.
Yeah, so it's like...
Which is fine, I'll do an ad hominem against Muhammad all day long.
Ad Muhammadum?
It's like Muhammad, police beat upon him.
Exactly. So it's like he called me an idiot, right? In the picture. The picture says like, "Don't worship me, you idiot. I'm not God," or "You idiot," or something like that.
Something of that nature, yeah.
And then and so I go and I'm like, "Hey, can you elaborate on that? What is, what kind of evidence do you have? Because calling me an idiot doesn't make it true. So can you explain?" And all he did was post the same format picture, but in the caption it says, "Where in the Bible does it say that I'm God?" And so it's like, I know it's in the Bible because I've read it, but I want to make sure I get the verses right. So I go to Google and just type out, okay, where did these claims happen? And like a bulk of them were from John, but there was a few from Matthew and I think Mark too that I put in there.
Yep.
And so I just started listing verses. I think it was like John 18:24 or no, John 8:58. John 8:58, John 10:30.
I mean, John 1:1.
Yeah, John 1:1 through 18. Like I mentioned that one. There was some verse from Matthew, and I put all of them in there, and then added just to name a few. So again, I will reiterate.
And by the way, I'll let you keep.
Yeah.
I'll tell
So
you.
I said, so just to reiterate, can you explain your claim? Because calling me an idiot doesn't make it true. Can you elaborate? If you cannot, you are either A intellectually shallow and nearsighted person, or B, you can't explain. Refusing to explain will prove the former, by the way. And then he just posted that same picture again. Where in the Bible does it say I'm God? So that I replied to that picture. I said, okay, thank you for proving my point.
Like,
and then moved on. Because he's clearly trying to rage bait me, and I didn't let him rage bait me.
Look, they're just doing what Muhammad Jihad, what was his name? Hijab. Hijab.
Muhammad Jihad.
Jihad.
Durka. Muhammad
Anyway.
Jihad.
The dude's one of their Dawa guys, big ones, or at least used to be anyway. He's been under hot water for following in Muhammad's real footsteps.
Shocker.
But anyway,
shock of all shocks.
But anyway, he the way he would like he would like go, he would just freak out, and he'd be like, "You're being intellectually molested." He's like, "Yeah, I feel pretty intellectually molested right now." Yeah. So, but anyway, the funny thing about one Muslim, he tried to use scripture to prove that Jesus was not God, and used verses that basically proved the opposite.
Yeah,
he literally inadvertently proved the deity of Jesus without because he doesn't know anything about the Bible. He doesn't know anything.
Yeah, and
he's
I'll
throwing these like verses out there and doesn't realize.
And I'll admit, right? I saw that comment, and I saw the Arabic name. I was like, okay, a Muslim's responding to it or whatever. And I read the comment because I'm new to this. I read that comment like, oh, I misjudged him. He's an Arabic Christian. Okay, he's on your side. And then he texts me. He's like, yeah, did you see how that guy just inadvertently proved, the divinity of God or the divinity of Jesus? And I was like, oh, I misjudged him again. It's like, I was like, oh, okay, so no, he's not a Christian. He's just
it's
dumb.
Yeah, because so the argument was Jesus was just a prophet, but his whole message was there is one God,
right?
Like, which is not what his message was, but I digress. But then he used which one was it? He released a verse that talks about, if you love me, obey my commands or my commandments, right?
Right.
Say, okay. And then he talks about Mark. He used like 3 verses of Mark, which Mark is one of my favorite books, because in literally every single chapter in Mark demonstrates in some way, shape, or form the deity of Jesus. Every single chapter demonstrates it. So either by outright saying it, or by showing it through his actions, or what he knows, or what he does. Right? As far as like straight up action, like direct action, or indirect action. Right? Which, it's funny, it was just like 3 or 4 verses after the ones he was showing me. It talks about it talks about the people were asking him about why David was called the Son Lord.
Mhm.
Basically, was saying, "Yeah, I'm the Son of God, and David called me Lord." Basically,
Right.
it was like, it's like, but anyway, but the verses he was saying was, so Jesus said, "If you love me, keep my commandments." And then it says, "Well, what were his commandments?" And then of course it talks about the Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one, and all these
Right.
things, right, in Mark.
And then also he put in there is, love the Lord your God with all your
Your
heart,
heart,
soul,
mind.
mind, and then love your neighbor as yourself.
Right. Here's the funny thing. All of those, or at least a minimum of two of those, because you can say maybe the third one, the love thy neighbor as, or love your neighbor as yourself kind of thing, maybe not a command from God,
Yeah.
maybe just from Jesus. You can make that argument.
It's
But-
kind of easier to take that one out of context
Right.
than it is for the other ones.
But the other two were from Old Testament, given directly by God. When it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one," that's literally Yahweh speaking.
Mhm.
And he just said, that's Jesus' command. Oh, really? So you're saying he's telling us to keep his commands, and he's claiming God's commands as his.
Right.
So you just said Jesus claimed, that's a God claim right there. That's a
Exactly.
claim to be Yahweh.
Right.
So thank you. You just committed shirk. You may leave Islam now.
Yeah. That was because I remember I texted him this morning because I got sent to a conference for my job today, and it was a couple hours away. And my boss, we have a truck, a company truck that we can use.
Okay.
And so my boss was driving, and I was bored, so I opened up my phone and I just started going to that page and start trying to debate people. And I texted him. I was like, "Yeah, you might have actually created a monster because this is what I'm doing when I'm bored now."
Like, oh man.
Like there was it was actually on that post that you made because he made a post and he actually proved it with the Quran that this is in accordance with Muslim ideology. That everyone goes to hell in Muslim culture,
At least for a little while.
Yeah, like if you're a believer in Islam, you start off in hell,
Mm-hmm.
and it's up to Allah to pull you out of hell.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I saw that post first. I was the first one to comment, and so he and I were like, we're having a little friendly jab back and forth. But this one guy, I can't remember what he called it. But he used an Arab phrase. It said you have to cross the insert Arab phrase, and then in parentheses he wrote bridge,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is probably in the actual Quran. And
I wouldn't even know. I would
yeah.
have to look at it specifically.
Newsflash: if you see parentheses or something in the Quran, that means it was added later.
Yeah, it was not. It's not actually in the Arabic. They're adding for their own sake. Essentially, they're
Right.
like, because unlike what the common narrative is, the Quran is actually not very clear at all.
No.
The dude didn't know how to write a proper sentence.
The Quran very blatantly contradicts itself.
Yes.
Like it lists Jesus as a prophet, and it says like if you love Muhammad or love the Quran or something, you have to love the Bible too. And doesn't it tell you to like go read the Torah and to go read
yeah.
the
So basically, it says it commands Christians and Jews to judge by the Torah and the Injil, or
Right.
the Gospel.
Mm.
And if that we don't, we will go to hell for not doing it.
Right. But later on, it will then say kill Christians as infidels.
Yes, but
So
it never the Quran actually never says anything negative about the Torah and the Injil.
right.
It never does. It always says that they're inspired and preserved, and they're God's word. They're authoritative.
Right.
All three of them. So, and it never says that they're not.
Mm-hmm. And toward the beginning, didn't it even speak like fondly of Jews and Christians at some point?
For a little while, yeah.
And then
And then eventually they kept rejecting him as a prophet, and he was like, well, I don't like y'all either.
yeah. So now let's kill them, right?
Yeah, so like so basically like you get half of the Quran is he's like cool with us, and then the second half he's like, after he discovered that we're not going to accept him as a prophet, he's like, all right, well they're the worst of creatures now.
Yeah, and name where that happens in the Bible, right? Where like stuff like that, right? Like, oh, these are God's people. They are preserved. It's protected, right? And then now all of a sudden, God's like, no, I don't like him anymore. Go and kill all of them.
Yeah,
it's like that doesn't happen. If you were killed in the Bible, it's because you did a very wicked thing, and you were practicing pure evil, and the penalty for sin is death. And in the Old Testament, that was how it was done. You either burned a sacrifice as repentance for your sins, and then try to walk upright. And then if you didn't, you were wiped. So yeah, but it doesn't happen in the Bible where you are God's chosen people, and then all of a sudden you're just not anymore because you've fallen out of favor, I guess. And then now God's like, okay, wipe them from the face of the earth.
Right.
So, I mean, even the Israelites, look at what happened with Moses. The Israelites were saying they wanted to go back to slavery because at least they had food or better food there, right?
Right.
And God, in all of his patience, which is way more than either of us have, was like, I chose this. I chose this. I will preserve them. It's going to take 40 years now because y'all are making me mad, but I chose this.
Right. So yeah, it's just one of those things where, look, again, Muslims don't understand. They barely understand their own book. They definitely don't understand the Bible.
Right. What was it?
Like you constantly have to. You cannot. It is almost like pulling. It's basically pulling teeth to even get them to understand the concept of the incarnation.
Right.
It is even worse to try to get them to understand the Trinity.
Right. Like, and then also to get them to understand how it's capable for, or how Jesus is capable for bearing the weight of sin, and as the Bible would put it, as like becoming like though he knew no sin, he took on the form of sin, right? So he could be the ultimate sacrifice for things he never did.
Which, by the way, that scripture also, that same passage also says he took on the form of God.
And it's like they can't wrap their minds around that. It's like what people don't understand is like he took on the form of sin. It doesn't mean he became a sinner. It means he embodied personhood to live a pure life and then die for something he never did, not meaninglessly, but so people like you and me now have a blood penance paid permanently.
Right.
So we don't have to go through all the Jewish customs. We don't have to worry about where we stand once we believe on Jesus Christ, that he's our Lord and Savior. He was raised on the third day. We are saved until the day of redemption. He was the ultimate and pure sacrifice for all of humanity, for all sin, for all time.
Right. And it's kind of funny because I've actually been...
But then they'll make that argument of like, well, if he was truly God, then he couldn't take on the form of sin, could he?
It's like,
and it's like, well, y'all don't. Well, maybe not your God, because your God's not merciful, but my God is merciful and just.
Well,
so
Allah is not. He's the weak one. He's the most incompetent, and he's the weakest.
which I'll get into that in a second.
He's the weakest deity and most incompetent deity. Every plan he has ever done has failed.
Exactly.
It's like he sent the Jews to teach everyone about one. That didn't apparently work because he had to send Jesus.
Right.
Then when he sent Jesus, not only, remember, this is for the all Muslims out there. Okay. If any of you all are watching. # Muslims.
That's going into the description now.
But anyway, I broke my concentration.
Allah is the most incompetent.
Oh yeah. So basically, according to the Quran, Jesus doesn't get crucified.
Right.
But Allah makes it seem like he did. So in reality, it's Allah's fault that all the Christians believe that Jesus was crucified and rose from the dead. Because he's the one who made it look like it.
Exactly.
It's like, so.
What I don't understand, too, along that line, we're not supposed to worship Jesus according to Muslim culture, because he's just a prophet, right?
Right.
But we are supposed to worship Muhammad?
So to be fair, they don't worship Muhammad, but they might as well.
Yeah.
But they don't.
If they don't, it is dancing that line.
Yeah, it's very similar to the levels of Catholics with Mary.
Right.
Like it's almost to that to that point where, are you sure you're not worshiping? Right. Are you sure you're not actually? Because remember, here's the thing: when you argue against here, you can test this.
Mm-hmm.
Argue about a law.
I probably will.
Argue about a law. Call a law names. Do whatever you want. Right. See what the reaction is.
Mm-hmm.
Then call Muhammad names and all the things, and see what that reaction is.
So wait, what did you say? The first part was
just make fun of Allah.
Make fun of Allah. Okay.
Yeah. They won't defend Allah, but they'll fight tooth and nail again for Muhammad. So they love Muhammad way more than they love Allah.
Exactly.
It's like, so anyway, but yeah, so it's like, it's just kind of that whole thing where, because even in the Quran it says that they have to obey both Allah and His Messenger.
Right.
Not just Allah, but Allah and His Messenger.
Which is an extremely opposite effect of like the Christian prophets or the Jewish prophets, right? Mm-hmm. Because we don't believe the Jewish prophets because they were prophets.
Right.
We believe the Jewish prophets because they spoke the word of God. God gave them the word and told them to speak, and in obedience, they spoke the word of God.
Right. They were literally just sound boxes.
Exactly.
So no matter what if they did something sinful or whatever, which usually they were condemned for it, but if they did anything like that, we don't have to follow any of that because that's not what a prophet is.
Right.
They can do horrible things, but that's not the point. God was just like, I'm going to use this person to do it, but then if they fail or something, then okay, well, you're going to get punished now.
Right.
It's like,
which a lot of them did.
Yeah, a lot of them did.
I mean, David's considered a prophet, and look at how great he fell twice.
Oh yeah, he lost his whole kingdom, and basically he lost his official lineage to the family of the woman he committed adultery with.
Right.
So,
and yet he was still a man after God's own heart.
Yep.
But it's not the person that makes the prophet; it's the prophecy that makes the prophet.
Right.
If you, like Muhammad, claim to be a prophet and then everything you spew is nonsense, you're not a prophet, and we can not trust you. But the reason why we trust these prophets isn't because they were people who said they were prophets. It's because what they spoke was the word of God, and the word of God came true. And so it's like they spoke it, and even if it didn't happen immediately, we can look down the line in Scripture and be like, "Oh, that's what he was referring to."
Yep. Or even outside of Scripture. Sometimes,
look at
the prophecy of Tyre, the destruction of Tyre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look at the prophecy in Isaiah about Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
and Jesus came and literally fulfilled every single one about him, without fail, perfectly. It's like that is absolute proof that these prophecies were about him, and then therefore, when Jesus made the claim later on that before Abraham was, I am, the Father and I are one. We can say, yeah, no, we can take that check to the bank because everything he is doing is aligning with what was prophesied, 500, 700, maybe 1,000 years ago, depending on which prophecy.
Yep.
So it's like some human memories are good, but no one's memory is that good.
Right.
And Jesus was like, yeah, no, all the stuff.
Yeah, it would be, even if he was just a guy who was trying to read this, because remember, he wasn't carrying around all the Torah and all the books of the Old Testament with him. Those are rare. Only synagogues had them. It's not like, so he would either had to have memorized literally the entirety of the Old Testament, right?
Probably when he was lost at that temple for a day,
right?
2 days, when he separated from his parents, and in that time was actually teaching the scribes,
right? So he would have had to do that, or because remember, there's hundreds of prophecies that he has to fulfill.
Right.
Hundreds of them. Not just like 3 or 4, hundreds.
Yeah. And then also not to mention that reading and writing was such a valuable thing back then because it wasn't taught all the way through. Mm-hmm. Back like it wasn't like in today where you go to school for, 12 years and then you can choose to go beyond that if you want. You out the womb, you're being taught a trade. because that's how you made a living.
But
you found
for Jesus, it was carpentry.
Yeah, it's like you found land, you claimed it, you brought kids into the world and taught them the trade that helped provide for you and your family, and then that's what you go off and did. You were taught to speak, but that's it. Yep. Very rarely was reading and writing taught. So if Jesus was just a man, then his having the ability to read or write probably wouldn't have happened.
Right.
But because he isn't just a man, he's we know
he could read at least one language.
Right.
Because he would read the scriptures in the synagogue.
Right.
So at least he knew at least one language.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely he knew. Actually, technically, he probably knew three: Aramaic, which was his normal language,
right?
His common language. Greek, because he probably knew the Septuagint,
right?
And then of course Hebrew, because he would read the Hebrew scriptures in the synagogues as well. But the Septuagint was also pretty common in that era, so he probably knew those three languages, possibly even Latin,
right?
And the reason I know that or think of that because he was also talking to Pontius Pilate. We don't know if Pontius Pilate knew Aramaic.
Mm-hmm.
Although they could have been both speaking Greek, we don't know. But so we know, but he most likely spoke at least three languages. Mm-hmm. Possibly four. But that being said, he like pointing out, even if he could read and write. Right, which I think he could. I'm pretty sure he could read. But let's say even if he didn't write, right? Let's just say he didn't. It wouldn't matter if he could read or write, because he's not sitting there copying the scrolls
right
from the synagogue. They would not. They don't allow that. You have to be a very specific scribe to even be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
He
was like, "I was there when it was written."
Yes.
Name that movie.
Yeah. Or book, but the
movie based on the book.
Yeah,
I saw the movie. I haven't read the book, but
I was never really into the book. I was more of a Lord of the Rings guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, so we had that kind of stuff. So, but Muslims don't understand any of this. They can't fathom any of that.
And it borders on. It's a self-destructive thing for them because they can't understand it because they refuse to. Because the moment they decide to, it's going to destroy their faith.
Yes.
And above all else, Islam, like apostasy, is the biggest feared thing in Islam.
Yep.
And of course, it was engineered that way because
Muhammad
knew.
Just like any cult.
Yeah. Muhammad knew if people started thinking critically, there would be a lot of falling away.
Yeah. So if you ever have
I'd like to point out everyone's going to be like, so you're saying Muslims can't think critically? Yes.
Correct.
It's like, I will leave no gray area there. Yes, I am saying Muslims don't think critically.
He's only seen them for about a day.
Yeah.
And he already doesn't realizes
from the time of recording, I started this yesterday.
Yeah. They cannot think critically.
Yeah.
Through design, they cannot think critically. When you become a Muslim, you have to basically revert to becoming a 7th century Arab and their mindset. All right? So everything becomes you basically devolve. It's like you're reducing at that point.
Was it? Because I started talking about it, but of course we followed the rabbit trail, which I like because that was a good rabbit trail. But with that post that you made about how everyone all goes to hell in Islam at first, and then only the believers get plucked out, and he pointed that out, and he posted the actual surahs where it showed this was the case, and some guy tried to say, "Oh no, it's a bridge," you cross the bridge, and then the believers make it, and the unbelievers fall away,
right?
But
then you have another guy who's like, "Oh no," and that admits that, we all go, but we eventually get out, and it's like, okay, so but even with that, there was 3 different versions of what they think that scripture says,
right? And so, it's like, I mean, how can you say he's all merciful, right? When he's like, I will send you to the most painful place in existence, the most torturous place in existence first, and then I'll pull you out. When
first he has to decide if he's going to.
Right.
Because remember, not even Muhammad knew what was going to happen to him.
Right.
So even if you're greatest person among you, was it even certain if they're going to make it to paradise?
Mm-hmm.
What hope do you have?
Exactly.
It's like Joe Schmo Muslim down the street.
Yeah.
Like, you think Allah's going to even give you a care?
Right. It's like
Like,
the
he's
guy
not-
who just goes to his job and does the prayer 5 times a day and attends
Mhm.
mosque.
Bare
Like,
minimum.
yeah, like bare minimum type stuff. Right? Like, what is that going to do? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but anyway, so that guy. So I asked the question, right? Because I'm not even debating like the spirituality of it. I'm just I'm like going sheer logic of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go and I'm like, so wait, it's a bridge. So what's to stop me from making it in Islam culture? As a non-Islamic believer, right? In Muslim culture, what is to stop me from making it to paradise on that bridge?
Mm-hmm.
Because all I got to do is obey the laws of physics. Assuming this table folds in half, so I wouldn't test it, but assuming this table is strong enough to hold my weight, if I stand in the middle of it, I'm not going to fall off, right? So what's to stop me from going to the middle of the bridge, not dare treading on the edges, and then just go into paradise? And then the guy comments something like, he's like, oh, well, if God made you from a single sperm cell, wouldn't auto-filtering be easy for him? And I was like, so what, did I have to cross a bridge as a sperm cell? No! Of course not! That's stupid! Right? All I had to do, right, I got deposited there, along with like 100 million of my other buddies, and I said, screw y'all, I'm going that way.
I still can't believe I was the best.
Right? It's like, and I beat him! I was the quickest one!
Maybe you were the most cunning.
Probably. I'm sure that there was another one that had the cure for cancer already lit up, and I said, nah, not that one.
Just when you're
Exactly. But I made it. I'm the one who won, right? And then I start
I'd
going.
like to think that my sperm was just ruthless.
Right.
Just working all the other sperms all the way up there.
Yeah. You made them.
I wasn't fast, but I was deadly.
You rallied thousands of them underneath you and made them carry you. So, but then I'm like, okay, so, and so I addressed that part because that one was really stupid. Because I'm like, it's like, yeah, this guy built your house. Doesn't that mean he could perform open heart surgery? It's like, no. It's like that's two totally different things.
Yeah.
So,
but the funny thing is
But so I start going into the logic further of it. And I was like, okay, so let again, as a Islamic non-believer, okay, I get put in the same position as the believers at the start of that bridge, and I start to make my way across.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me I could do exactly what I said the first time, seize the middle, do not dare tread toward the edges, and I could make it all the way to the gates of paradise, and then your God will be like, oh, you're a non-believer, and then flick me off into hell?
right?
It's like, doesn't that make the bridge redundant?
Right.
Why not just bring me in with everyone, put me on the non-believer side and you on the believer side, and then be like, y'all didn't believe in me, perish, y'all believed in me, come on in.
Yep.
And like,
As it would be in the Christian
exactly.
belief. So here's the deal: would you like to know how they're supposed to know? So here's the funny thing:
Mm-hmm.
on the Day of Judgment, when we're all supposed to be standing before Allah,
Mm-hmm.
we're not actually gonna. No one's gonna be able to tell who Allah is until He does something.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to know what that is?
I would love to know what that is.
He reveals His shin. It's called the Day of the Shin.
So
It's like,
you're
how
telling
did
me
they
Muhammad had a
live-
foot fetish?
No, he had a shin fetish.
It's just like-
So he literally would say, because it literally says in the hadith that it says, "How will we know who Allah is?" And then they go, "The shin," and then he reveals his shin. They're like, "Oh, that's Allah." So there's something weird about his shin that apparently everyone knows. Oh yeah, that's
it's like,
Allah's
that's
shin.
definitely a God shin right there.
So that's a
like-
deity shin if I ever seen one.
It's like, Abdul, sit down. That's your shin. That's an Allah shin.
Right? So that is how we're supposed to know who Allah is. I'm sorry. But there was never any question on who God was once he showed up.
Right?
They were like, even when he would be incarnate in like the Old Testament, like Abraham, when God showed up as a being, like looked like a person, he instantly know that's the Lord.
Exactly.
And he fell before him.
Exactly.
There is no like questioning who God is when you see him, if you live.
Right? Yeah. Assuming
if you're God and live, sometimes it takes a moment to realize it, but then you're like, oh crap,
yeah,
I believe I lived.
And even then, is like when you look at Abraham looking on seeing the figure on the mountain, Joshua seeing the figure, right? At the distance, they didn't know what it was, but they knew they were drawn to it. They were like, I don't know what that is, but I know I need to go to it. And then once they got closer, they're like, oh, there you go, that's God.
That's Lord, yeah.
I think the only time a mistake was made, I think it was Joshua. Well, the identification was the mistake that was made, but the worship was the mistake because I think Joshua saw an angel, and he immediately went to worship it. At least I think it was Joshua, but he went to go worship it, and the angel said, "No, I am a servant."
Oh no, you're thinking of John.
John
in Revelation.
Okay, yeah,
but
so it's like,
which is interesting because if an angel is like, "Hey, don't worship me," when someone tries to, guess what Jesus didn't do when they try to worship him? Stop them.
In fact,
he accepted it.
Not only that, he actually said in the book of John, if they stopped, the very stones would cry out.
Yep.
In their place.
Although I would say this on that one, that's kind of one of my pet peeve ones. The reason he was saying that was not because of necessarily who he was per se, but what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
He was fulfilling a prophecy.
Right.
So it wasn't just that he was God, but that if you were to stop them from fulfilling this prophecy, the rocks will start doing the thing to fulfill the prophecy for them.
Right.
But it had nothing really to do with the worship itself, but the fulfillment of prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a little washy on. I don't like to use that one because of that context. It sounds nice. It preaches nice.
Mm-hmm.
I try to stay away from that one just because that's not what is happening there.
Yeah, you want to preach honestly, not nicely.
Right.
So.
But again, that's kind of irrelevant because he was still accepting worship.
Right.
He wasn't stopping them from worshiping him.
Yeah. He was encouraging it.
Yeah, he was just being like, hey, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Because I'm who they say they am.
Yeah. They came to him and said, they're like, hey, you need to tell them to stop. And he's like, man, they know what's up.
It's like no. Although the same people who were worshiping him that day, a week later, were crying, crucify him. But that's neither here nor there.
Which, I mean, that's another topic that the Muslims bring up, which I've seen multiple times. Is like, oh, so your infinitely powerful God was killed by man, and it's like,
well, the flesh did.
Yeah, the flesh did.
God himself did.
And then I mentioned, I was like, yeah, and he rose again on the third day. Name one person, not Jesus, name one person other than Jesus that rose from the dead by his own power.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah, and here's something about, again, the incarnation. They don't understand the incarnation, right? Here's a question. Even for Muslims, when your body dies, does your soul die?
Mm.
Do you die as a Muslim? Do you just annihilate yourself? Right? Just because your body, the shell, dies, doesn't mean that what's inside dies. Guess what was inside the shell of Jesus?
The spirit.
Yeah. It was God.
It was the spirit of God.
It was the person of Jesus.
Yeah.
Or the personhood of the Son. So that's what did not die.
Right.
And that's what was able to raise the body of Jesus back to the dead from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why when it says, if you believe if you believe that Jesus is Lord,
right,
and that God raised him from the dead, then you'll be saved. Now, on a glance, that looks like, oh, that means God did it, not Jesus did it.
Right.
What it's talking about is the body of Jesus, the flesh and blood,
right,
and God, basically him, Yahweh, which is triune, raised him back.
Yeah.
So
and all that was done with a purpose.
Right.
Like his death was planned.
Correct.
And ordained, by the way, because it was meant to be, again, the sacrifice for all who believe. So that way we can believe on him, and our penance is now paid in full forever. Yep. Right? Because back in the Old Testament days, you had a lot of traditions to follow and a lot of rules to follow. You had to keep the commandments. You would burn a sacrifice, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I was taught. But you burn a sacrifice once a year as penance, as an incense toward the Lord.
Yom Kippur.
Mm-hmm. And
actually, I continue. About,
and
I want to talk a little bit
about and then after that sacrifice is burned, your penance is now paid for the year, and then you spend the rest of the year trying to walk upright, and then of course you have to repeat the same thing again next year because you do still commit sins. But this was how it was done before Jesus came. And then God said, okay, I'm going to make this easier for them. Jesus will come down, the Son of Man. He will come down, and he will be that final sacrifice to fulfill the covenant permanently. Mm-hmm. And with that fulfillment, we'll usher in the new one.
Right.
And that new one is a covenant of grace and faith.
Right.
Not works.
So, actually, I want to go a little further on the temple sacrifice thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you only talked about the very, very first part.
Right.
Actually, that very first part isn't what atoned.
Mm-hmm.
So after the laymen, the Hebrews, right? They would come with their sacrifice, and the sacrifice would be burned up and all that kind of stuff. Well, and of course they had this giant pit essentially, or candle sized. It was a weird thing. Anyway,
right.
But that they would cast the sacrifice into, and it would burn. And it would just always burn. It was a constant burning and all that. But then, after all that was done, the high priest would actually have two goats, two pure goats.
Was it goats or lambs?
It's interchangeable back then. It could be a goat or it could be a lamb, or
right.
The terminology back then was a little bit washy.
Right.
In the Talmud, they use the term lamb or goat, but it's the same thing back then. It was kind of, there was no real super distinction, at least not in that era.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what they would do is they would, but then they would cast a lot. It would be a lot on which one would come to their right hand, right? And the one that would come to the right hand would be the the atoning one, okay? But that's not the one that dies. Interestingly enough, so they have the two goats. The one that comes to the right hand stays alive. The one that does not is sacrificed. It's killed, placed on the Ark of the Covenant. Right? The blood spills over. Then what the high priest would do was take the blood of that goat and place it onto the goat of the other one, the one that came to his right hand.
Right.
Covered with that blood. That was symbolizing the sins of the people.
And
then there was a wool string, essentially, that would be tied to that goat. And the way you would know that the people's sins were atoned for would be that thread, essentially, would go from crimson, because it was a crimson thread. It would go from crimson to white. And then once that would happen, the high priest would send it out to the wilderness.
Right.
And that would be the goat taking the sins of the people away from them into the wilderness. That's actually, in fact, where we get the term scapegoat from. So it was the scapegoat.
Right.
So that's where we get scapegoat from. Anyway, so that's what would happen, right?
Right.
Here's the interesting thing. Are you familiar with the Talmud?
Maybe.
So the Talmud is after the second temple was destroyed, a couple 100 years or 100 or so, 200 years after, the Jews needed something to regain their identity.
Right.
So they basically developed what's called Rabbinic Judaism, which is what they do now. So that's the replacement version of the Temple Judaism.
Right.
But basically all it is the first half of it is just the them explaining, like, this is what the law is, this is all the stuff, right? Just kind of explaining everything, and then the rest of it is like commentary on that, right?
Right.
Of them just debating on what this means and what all this stuff is, right? But here's the funny thing, or interesting thing. In the Talmud, there is a section where they were talking about the strange things that were happening with the scapegoat and all the things that are around the temple.
Mm-hmm.
So you're familiar with the years of silence, right?
Right.
So it talks about how in the years of silence, essentially, that time frame, that the so you know how the fire that they would burn the sacrifices, and then of course the scarlet thread, and then of course all the things I just talked about.
Right.
They said, well, during that time it was weird because before it would just always be that way. It just without fail, constant, do it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
During the years of silence, it was like wishy-washy. It was like if and maybe sometimes it happened, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Like sometimes the scarlet thread would turn white, sometimes it didn't. Sometimes the fire would continuously burn, sometimes we would have to feed it. Sometimes the scapegoat would come to the left hand instead of the right hand. Just things like this. Those weird things happening. But then it says, so you know that the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says in the 40 years from the 40 years all the way leading up to the temple being destroyed,
Mm-hmm.
everything literally just stopped. Nothing was working. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what happened 40 years prior to the temple being destroyed?
Wasn't that Jesus' sacrifice?
That was Jesus's. That's when he began his ministry.
Oh, okay.
And then of course he died.
Right.
So from that time between, because the actual the permanent sacrifice was on earth, ready to go.
Right.
All the other actual sacrificing ended.
Yeah.
Stopped. Dead in its tracks. And then the temple gets destroyed.
Yeah.
Which is a very interesting thing because the people who wrote the Talmud actually hated Jesus.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're even saying anything like that,
right,
that would confirm this phenomenon with Jesus,
right,
is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like they were like Christians who were like, we need to prove that this is good. They hated Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
They thought he was the reason for the destruction of the temple, and some people were like, he's in hell burning in his own pee and that kind of stuff. That's like,
right.
They hated him.
Yeah.
So so they still explain that, and it's like, that's freaking cool.
Yep.
It's cool. So, but anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, again, fulfilling prophecies, you know?
Uh-huh.
It's like all Jesus did was exist.
Yeah. That's all he had to do.
Yep.
But
I'll throw one out there because I thought this was like a very funny misunderstanding. It was apparently, I think it was Saint Nicholas. Apparently, I think Saint Nicholas apparently slapped the crap out of somebody.
Oh yeah, Irenaeus, the heretic.
Yeah, because I saw that video pop up. Right, I saw a video. I say that video like you saw it. You might have seen it, but what was the guy's name? Irenaeus or something?
Irenaeus, yeah.
Yeah, Irenaeus said that the Son did not exist at the same time as the Father.
Right, that he was a created being.
Yeah.
That he was created at birth.
And you know, and at first I was like, and then it goes on to talk about how Saint Nicholas got up and proceeded to smack him,
laid him out.
Yep. And then I was like, why would it do that? The Son obviously was created by the Father. It was within the fourth day of creation, right? He said, "Let there be light." He created some other stuff, and then he put the Son up there. And I went back and watched the captions with it, and Son was O-N, not U-N. I was like, oh, yeah, I get it.
Is it?
Because I wasn't reading it, I was just listening to it. So when he said, because again, as a Christian, this is like stupid obvious, right?
For the briefest moment, Eric was a heretic.
Well, it wasn't a heresy. It was a misunderstanding. Because again, as a Christian, this is like stupid obvious, right? Like, yes, Jesus is God. He existed the same time as the Father, which is forever, no beginning, no end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when he said, you know, the Son was created by God and did not predate him, I was like, why are we fighting over that? It was created on the fourth day, because I'm thinking the sun, like, you know,
soul
in the sky, you know, like the star that gives us light and UV rays and stuff like that. And then I was like, that is so weird. And the captions would pop up as it went, and they spelled it O, and I was like, oh, They mean the sun. Not the sun. The sun. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. That makes sense.
Good times though.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, debating Islam is weird but fun at the same time.
Yep.
And it's funny how they also try to portray it as like a peaceful religion too, when it's anything but peaceful. Which we kind of actually addressed at the beginning of the video, where they lean very heavily into jihad. And like everything is jihad, because apparently that's actually like one of the only, surefire ways to actually enter heaven is if you die as a martyr in jihad. But the moment someone who is better at war than they are, i.e. the U.S., comes and starts whooping butt, then they immediately start retreating, and they're like, oh, we're like such a peaceful people and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, but then y'all flew planes into towers that killed 3,000 people. Yep. That y'all oppress your women like crazy and force them to dress out to their eyes. And then apparently I also heard something, I think this is practiced in Iran, where if a woman is convicted of a crime, it's actually legal for you to rape her before killing her, so that way she can't enter heaven.
Right.
So it's
well, here's the thing. There are in some, I think it's in Pakistan or some of the other ones, where they'll have literal rape gangs. But that patrol everywhere, and if a woman isn't wearing her job right or isn't being modest enough, they're allowed to rape her to teach her a lesson.
Yeah.
So it's like, how is this your epitome of what you think is moral?
Right. But you know what you will never see in Christianity? And if you see someone profess to be a Christian while doing this, you can know 100% they're not a Christian.
Right.
God never told you to go around and be like, hey, convert people to Christianity, and if they don't, just kill them.
Right.
As I tell women to dress modestly, and if they don't, rape them to teach them a lesson. In fact, not only does Jesus tell us not to do that, we would be condemned with the murderers and the rapists if we did do that.
Yep. And I'll tell you right now, if Muslims are watching this right now, they're going to claim that Mary, mother of Jesus, was a 12-year-old girl when she was...
That's actually on that page.
Yes. Oh, you saw it?
I saw that. They said Mary was 12 and Joseph was 90, and I'm like...
You know where that comes from?
Where does it come from?
So, it actually comes from Catholicism.
Uh-oh.
But it's only speculation.
Right.
Because they're trying to figure out... It's actually one of the more fringe beliefs. Simply because they're trying to keep Mary a perpetual virgin,
right?
Because that's one of their beliefs, their core dogmas about Mary, is that she was the ever virgin. All right, she never had sex, ever. Period. So one of the ways to do that is that.
So wait, how did James come along?
So when it says it's almost as bad as the Muslims when they say things, but it's like, but when the Bible says he had brothers and sisters, it just means cousins. It's like, it literally says brothers and sisters.
It's like, I think they know the difference between... So first of all, cousins were actually mentioned in the Old Testament.
Right.
Because in Leviticus, Moses addressed people sleeping with their cousins.
Right.
And said, hey, don't do that.
Right.
So if they knew that how many thousands of years before Christ, right. They would have known that during Christ.
And there's Greek words for cousins.
Right.
So anyway, so that idea is that she has to be forever a virgin,
which I don't know why.
So they have to figure out a way to get Joseph to not have sex with her. So a couple people came up with this idea of, oh well, maybe she was young, and all Joseph did was marry her to protect her as like a protector figure or a father figure, right?
Right, and I'm guessing they did it. They frame it as along the lines of she would have been seen as like a pure, like a whore or something in her time. It would have been stoned to death probably, considering she's pregnant outside of marriage.
So
I'm guessing. I'm not saying that's the case, but it just sounds like that's the way it goes.
Okay, so for Catholics, that concept doesn't even come up.
Oh,
because in their theology, Mary was always known to be. Oh, by the way, she was immaculately conceived too.
Right, I did hear about that.
So she was immaculately conceived. She was basically put in the temple to be like protected forever. And then they knew she was going to be a vessel somehow. Anyway,
So wait, how does Joseph have to marry her to protect her then?
To keep anyone else from doing it, trying to marry her or anything like that. But again, but I will say, to be fair to the Catholics, this is a fringe,
right,
belief system. So
I'm getting caught up in the logic of it, definitely.
Yeah,
but
so,
I'm like to keep anyone else from doing it, can't they just say no?
Right.
It's like,
but they can't say the Bible says he married her, so they
Right.
can't be like, oh, he didn't marry her.
yeah, I know, right?
They're kind of in a tough spot, right?
I know.
So they got to make something up.
It's like they're in a tough spot. They got to make something up. Have you tried not doing that?
Right. But anyway, so the reason to make him so old is, one, so he can die quicker,
Yeah.
but two, he'll be so old that he wouldn't have the desire for sex, right? So at a certain age, you're like your libido goes completely down, and you're even though your brain might want it, your body just says no.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why they kind of put him the age gap so drastic. So here's the thing, though. The reason the Muslims try to put it, because they know that Aisha was only 6 when she was married to Muhammad, and only 9 when they conceived, or when they consummated the marriage.
Now, side question for that one: is there actually proof of that?
Well, it's all up in the Aisha herself said it in the Hadith.
Okay.
It's like,
I'm inclined to believe
it comes from her own mouth.
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe the victim.
Yeah.
But because it's like,
and it's also it's mentioned inside the Quran a little bit, sort of, but not really.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of other stuff in the Quran that's not true.
But the Hadith the Hadith are really what talks about Muhammad's life,
right?
And what he did, what he said, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The Quran's not really that.
Yeah. So I asked that question because I'm inclined to believe Aisha, because she was the victim of him. So if she says like, yeah, but he waited till I was 9, then it's like, okay, that's an important detail for her.
Yeah,
but if it was the Quran saying, yeah, he didn't consummate until she was 9, I was about to be like, he married her when she was 6. Are we really to believe that that's where the line was drawn?
Yeah, but Aisha.
But if Aisha confirms it, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I can bite that.
Aisha narrated it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And that wasn't
allegedly.
That wasn't the part that was eaten by a goat.
Right. That was actually written by Aisha too, by the way. I'm pretty sure she made sure it got eaten by, because that, what verses got eaten by a goat, right?
No.
The ones that say men should be allowed to suck on women's breasts to make them not want them.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
To make men not want them or make women not want them?
So both. So it's like so if a man were to come in and like be horny essentially for the woman, all she has to do is let him suck on her breasts and that will kick in his maternity
paternity.
No, because he's thinking mother.
Oh.
So he's acting like she's his mother, therefore he's not going to want her because now she's his mother somehow.
Okay, this might be a little TMI, but my wife and I have fooled around in the bedroom. I've done things pretty close to that to my wife.
But you don't think of her as your mom?
It's only made me want her more.
Right. Exactly.
Usually if I'm doing that, I have another end game in mind. It's like, I'm going all the way.
So,
I'm not doing that going, Mama!
It's like, I should believe that too. And he was like, here you go. Eat that. And then like, she made up a I guarantee you. Okay, so the way the story goes that
that she like left it under a pillow or something, and the goat got in.
This is
and
my story. I'm sticking to it.
Like,
kind of thing.
But it's like, how'd the goat get in the bedroom, Aisha?
Yeah, right. No, it was a tame goat. It was one of our pets, and we were totally out. Around mourning the death of our Muslim prophet, when this goat randomly just took the very, very important words of God and ate them.
What are you doing, step goat?
Right? The Quran was stuck in the pillow. That needs to be a meme.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that a meme.
Do it.
We're going to make it a meme.
What are you doing, step goat? Being bad. Sorry, I had to.
So, what's funny? You know those little toys that's like the screaming goat?
Yeah.
So, David Wood has one, and he tore out a little piece of the Quran and put it in the mouth of the
It's like ultimate pettiness.
So, David Wood's actually known for tearing the Quran and actually eating it. Like, straight up.
I mean, yeah, okay, sure.
There's a story behind it. Anyway, yeah.
It's like, I mean, I won't go that far.
So those are the kinds of things that are in the Quran that we're supposed to, or excuse me, in the Hadith. And this is why there's actually such thing as Quran only Muslims,
right?
Because of things like that in the Hadith. However, when it comes to child marriage, if you don't have the Hadith, there is no minimum age for marrying and or consummating. So if you do Quran only, out of the womb, you can marry and consummate if you really wanted to. It's like there's nothing in the Quran that forbids any of that.
Yeah, so I actually
you need the Hadith to forbid or put a limit on Allah.
Right.
The Hadith needs to limit your God.
Exactly. Well, that's actually funny enough. Again, we love you, Josh, but I did kind of use that joke where I was talking about someone talking about it, and I just said, hot take, I'm not taking advice from someone who is sexually attracted to children.
Right.
It's like, that seems very basic to me.
Right.
But it's like, I actually saw a video of a Muslim who was like, I think it was on like TikTok or something, and he's like, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, police be upon him. He's like, did not marry a 9-year-old, and I can prove it in 60 seconds. And then literally the next clip, okay, he did marry a 9-year-old, but here's what you have to understand. It's like, I can prove this is not a phone case, and I can prove it in 60 seconds. Okay, this is a phone case, but here's what you have to understand.
It's an iPhone.
Yeah, right.
So here's that was the actual thread I was actually going to go with. I forgot to finish my thought on that.
Right.
So when they were pointing out, Mary and Joseph,
right,
and the reason they do that is because Muhammad married Aisha at such a young age and consummated and all that. They're thinking in their head, oh, Joseph consummated the marriage when she was 12 and he was 90, whatever, right? Not realizing that the whole point of that was that they did not have sex at all.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of that part. So the whole thing that they're trying to go with is the opposite effect of what they wanted.
Right.
And they don't know it because they don't actually study.
No.
So.
I'm diving into all this for the first time, and I'm over here. I'm like, how do I have an argument with any of y'all?
I dare you to try to get through the Quran. I dare you.
I might have to decline that dare.
It is, as Anthony Flew would say, it's like doing penance.
I mean, I have a hard time with reading in general, right? Because I like to be actively and visually engaged. I like to, be able to reach out and like touch something and like take it apart, analyze it, physically see it.
Well, I have a hard copy. You can borrow the hard copy.
No, words.
Flip to the pages.
Yeah, words on paper don't do it for me. So, and if something like the Quran is going to be that difficult, and I'll take your word for it. But
and the thing is, it's not because it's like difficult to read. It is just so horribly written. And
isn't it like divinely written?
Oh, it's divinely. They can say it's divinely written. Here's the worst part.
We call it divine stupidity. Okay.
They don't just say that it's divinely written, but it's the most eloquent thing that's ever been written, and no one can write anything like it. Ironically, Uthman, one of the first caliphs, did just that, and he did it. He recited a thing so close or so much like the Quran that they thought it was the Quran. They thought it was inspired. So clearly it can happen. According to Muslims' own sources, it can happen.
Right.
It's like, y'all disprove yourself.
Every day, and then you double down on it anyways.
It's like, I don't know, man. That's just the way Islam has been. Without lies, Islam dies.
And then they have that whole thing where, because Islam is like the second fastest growing religion, right?
Yeah.
But
well, allegedly it's the first. But that's because of birth rates.
Yeah. Well, because in Islam, if you're born into a Muslim family, you're automatically a Muslim, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they count that as a Muslim. They count that as being a part of their religion. And there is also that other thing where they count, like, everyone is born as Muslim, but if you're not raised in a Muslim household, then you're would you be considered an apostate then, or is it just okay? So you're an apostate as a child apparently, and then if you convert to Muslim or Islam, you're actually a reconvert.
Yes,
because you came back to
you're a revert.
Yeah, you're a revert, even though that's not even close. Whereas Christians, we actually don't believe that.
Right.
In fact, I was actually having a debate with someone in that group about that, where he actually mentioned that it's the second fastest growing religion and that pretty soon it'll be at our door. And then I brought that up where I was like, hey, y'all actually count births into Muslim families as being Muslim, when Christians don't do that. In fact, we do the opposite. We tell you that being born into a Christian family doesn't make you any more Christian than visiting India one time makes you a Hindu.
Right.
It's like you're just born into that. You have to grow up and then make the choice for yourself.
The big interesting thing is Christianity grows the fastest under persecution.
Yeah.
When you're like in China, it is booming over there.
Right.
And it's because they're trying to suppress it so much. But when you try to suppress Christianity, when you should try to suppress the truth wants to get out.
Well, and also look at it like even here in the United States, right? Like everyone's willing to deny God blatantly until a hurricane blows through.
Right?
Now, I'm born and raised in the state of Florida. I know what hurricanes do, okay? I was acquainted with my first hurricane when I was 6 years old. I know hurricanes fluently.
That old saying, there are no atheists in the foxhole.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
It's like, but then the moment natural disaster hits, you get a tornado blowing through, you get under attack or something, natural disaster or something, like hurricanes, immediately everyone's like crying out to God.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're either pleading for mercy and saying, save me from this, or they're actually outright blaming him.
Right.
And it's like, to the atheist, it's like, how do you blame, something that doesn't exist?
Right.
And then two, to the Muslim, if that's the case, wouldn't you be blaming your God? If our God is false? It's like when you think about it that way, it's a very interesting concept.
Yep.
Because that shows deep down in our subconscious, we know God is there. Mm-hmm. We know he's real. And we know he is the Judaic Christian Yahweh. It's not Muslim. It's not Hindu. It's not, there's like other ones I can't remember. It's not Buddha. It's all, and Buddha started as more of a philosophy anyways. Yeah. It just devolved into a religion. But it's not any of those. Like everyone and this actually goes to the point of Romans, where Romans says that God made himself evident through creation, so no one is without excuse. We know, like deep down, we know that God is real. And only when times get rough do we actually acknowledge that existence, even if it's albeit temporarily, but you do anyways. And then the Christians are the ones who are like, whether it's good or bad, we acknowledge his existence anyways.
Yep. So, but anyway, yeah,
that was our rant about Islam.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything else to add.
I mean,
chances are
we'll wait till you get a hold of the Islamic dilemma, man.
Didn't we go over that at one point? I can't quite remember it.
Well, there's many of them, but the primary one is that we kind of touched on it earlier, but that the Quran confirms the preservation, authority, and what is it called?
Authenticity?
No. Oh my
divinity?
Trying to get the exact wordage, but anyway, inspiration, preservation, and authority of
Mm-hmm.
of the Torah and the Injil,
Right.
as we know as the Bible. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something. If any Muslims are watching, here's a question for y'all. You can bomb us in the comment section. What's the Injil?
Mm-hmm. They probably just tuned you out.
No, that perks them right up. I'll tell you that right now. Anyway, so so it confirms those things about our Bible, our scriptures,
Mm-hmm.
and it says it confirms the scriptures that came before it, the Torah and Injil, right? So, but here's the thing, and it says that you can know that the Quran is true because it confirms everything that is in those books.
Mm-hmm.
But it actively contradicts those books. So by its own test, essentially, the Torah and Injil says Islam is false, therefore it's false. Or
Right.
Since it's saying it's true, but it's not, or it's not it's contradicting.
Right.
Just by that, it's false.
Mm-hmm.
So either way you look at it, it's false. So here's the way the dilemma really, like the full-on dilemma. If the Quran confirms the scriptures and these scriptures are false, then the Quran is false.
Mm-hmm.
If the Quran confirms the scriptures and the scriptures are true, the Quran is false.
Right.
So either way, it's false.
Mm-hmm.
Quran or the Islam is false by default. By its own test, it is false. So
Talk about shooting yourself in the foot.
Muhammad didn't even know what he was talking about. So they literally called him the ear because he would just hear things.
Mm-hmm.
He would just hear things and then just spit it out. Like a good portion of the Quran is plagiarized.
Right.
From other things. Like there's an entire chapter that's straight from the romance of Alexander the Great.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally, and he's saying it as if it's Revelation, but it's just the story from Alexander the Great.
Right.
So it's like, and ironically, in the Quran, it talks about a whole bunch of people saying multiple times, these aren't from God. They're just old stories. We've heard these stories before. and it's in, and then he's like, and those ones that he says, those are revelations from Allah saying, I know that they keep saying that, but we know it's true. It's like, no, they were right. they're just fake stories that you made, that either you made up or you stole from other. There's other people who've discovered that a whole lot of it was actually plagiarizing the Talmud.
Mm-hmm.
The Jews. He's like, he can't stop plagiarizing the Jews, the Greeks.
It's like, and why is that? Because it turns out, Hitler did wish that Germany was an Islamic country.
Correct.
How much do you want to bet that Muhammad was kind of the inspiration for a lot of Hitler's ideologies? Aside from Nazism, of course, but just...
Well, I know he admired him. I don't know if he drew like severe, like actual inspiration per se, but he definitely...
Yeah, because
he definitely was a fan.
Yeah, because it's just weird to me, like how... Because I actually did a lot of research on like Nazi Germany and stuff. I'm trying to be a better student of history. And I don't read books. I do audiobooks because, again, I process information more audibly and visually, and usually when I'm doing something. So I work maintaining softball fields for my local government, so I'm physically active all day. So it's very easy for me to just pop in my headphones and listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook and just get it that way. So the book I listened to on Nazi Germany was a 20-hour long audiobook. I think it was actually 26 hours. Whew. And yeah, if you're like me trying to get into reading, don't start with nonfiction, start with fiction. Okay? Because fiction is a lot shorter. I transitioned from reading that.
You're telling me.
I transitioned from reading that to, I think, World War Z, and World War Z was 15 hours.
Yeah.
And World War Z was actually an amazing book. I did not like the movie. This is a side rant, but I did not like the movie. of World War Z already, and then I read the book and I saw how much the movie butchered it. So I was like, now I hate the movie even more. I actually do have a physical copy.
Yeah.
So I actually do have a slight rule. If I listen to a book, audiobook, I have to get a physical copy. Because if for one, it helps me keep track of the books I read, so I actually do have that as a physical copy. But like, let's say I read a book that I think you would be interested in, but you don't process information the same way I do. You like to read it, and I like to listen to it. So then I can be like, hey,
It depends on what it is.
yeah. So it'll be like
if it's lectures and stuff, I'll listen to it.
To be honest, because Max Brooks was actually involved in the audiobook.
Right.
I think the audiobook did it better than the reading, because he actually got a lot of people to play like the different characters that he's interviewing. Mark Hamill appeared 3 different times.
Oh, nice.
In that, and I remember I was listening to it, and I'm sitting there like, because his character comes on, I'm sitting there, I'm like,
so it's more like a dramatization rather than a straight, just an author or just a person reading it.
Right, but but the book is a script, word for word.
Right.
So like Max Brooks plays himself in the book. He's the interviewer, right? Okay. And then he gets all these other people to play the people he's interviewing. And Mark Hamill, I think, did it 3 times for either 1 or 2 different characters.
Oh, cool.
And I remember the first time I heard it, and I was like, I'm like raking something or whatever, and I stop. I'm like, is that? No, he's an A-list actor. He was Star Wars and the Joker. Why is he gonna be in Max Brooks' World War Z book? But it sounded so similar to him, so I was like, it's gonna bug me. So I go through the credits, and I'm like, son of a gun, it's Mark Hamill.
I mean, you know what else Mark Hamill played in?
What?
That game.
I don't know what that game is. Are you talking about the poster on the shelf there?
Wing Commander.
Wing Commander. Okay, I can't. So your figurines from my angle are blocking it. Oh. I can only see the Chewbacca looking knockoff.
Yeah, he was one of the main characters on Wing Commander 3 and 4.
Yeah, but yeah, I have the rule that if I do an audiobook, I have to buy the physical copy. So 1, I keep track of all the books that I read, and 2, let's say I'm like, Devin would really like this, but he's probably gonna want to read it. I can give you the copy and say, hey, just read it and get it back to me when you're done. So, because I know, like, we process information differently. Yep.
But anyway.
So, yeah. But, yeah, no, I mentioned World War Z because I actually really like that book. Funny enough, again, rabbit trail, but it's on my mind, so I'm going to say it anyways. This might actually be a hot take. I think Jurassic Park, the movie, was actually done better than the book.
I hear that. I read the book. I read the book a long time ago, like in the 90s. Mm-hmm. I don't remember much from it, so
don't get me wrong. The book was okay. First of all, Lex irritated the crap out of me. I never wanted a child character to die so badly as much as I wanted Lex to die, because she was the reason they were almost dying 95% of the time. Mm-hmm. They're on the raft, and the T-Rex is like sleeping or whatever, is not paying attention to them, and she starts coughing, and she's like, "I can't help it." And if I'm Dr. Grant, I'm like, "Yes, you can help it. What do you mean? I can't help it. Have you tried?" It's like, if she ever appears in the book, if she is the center of attention, her favorite phrase is, "I'm hungry." I'm hungry. We know. Have you ever noticed that the T-Rex is also hungry? Have you tried shutting up for once? Spoiler alert, but the book also came out in like the 90s, so too late.
The 80s.
Was it the 80s?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know Jurassic Park was early 90s, but I thought
92, so there wasn't much time.
Okay. Yeah. So
the book, if it came, actually, it might have come out in like 90. Yeah. 1990 or something like that.
I don't know. I don't got my phone, so I can't look it up. But yeah. So in the movie versus the book, so Lex and Tim actually swap roles in the movie. So in the book, Tim is actually the older one. He's better with computers. He's a smart guy. He loves dinosaurs. He still kept that part, but he loves dinosaurs. And Lex is more of a tomboy who prefers going outside and playing sports and all that stuff. And she's also much younger than Tim was in the movie, and she is insanely useless. Right? Like, Tim had a mild use at least, but Lex in the book was insanely useless. Versus you go to the movie, Lex is the older one. She's the one who's good with computers. Tim actually still likes dinosaurs and is completely happy with him and loves him. And at least he still shows an interest to Dr. Grant in the movie. And he does try to help, like, in escaping with the dinosaurs in a sense, right? And he does also, in the movie, he actually serves the purpose of teaching Dr. Grant, like, because in the book, Dr. Grant actually loves children because they love dinosaurs as much as he does. So he actually admires them. Whereas in the movie, Dr. Grant hates them. And so, at least in the movie, Tim served the purpose of showing Dr. Grant that taking care of a kid isn't that bad.
Yeah, they used it as like a story arc.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I read the book, and to be honest, I got toward the end and just couldn't finish it. I will say, though, the one thing I'm happy about in the book is that my favorite character, Muldoon, survived. I feel like Muldoon did not get the ending he should have gotten in the movie. But
anyway.
But yeah, that's our take on Islam.
Islam and apparently
Jurassic Park
audiobooks.
Oh yeah, I forgot what I was actually.
Maybe we'll give him the Quran audiobook.
Yeah. I also probably want to blow my brains
you know
up.
what'd be great? We should get you. You know why? Because they sing the Quran.
I'm gonna go try to start my Glock now.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you like one verse, so you can hear what it sounds like, and you get to.
I don't want to.
Tough.
It's kind of like, going to heaven and realizing hell is still down there. It's like, I don't need to see hell. It's like, I'm perfectly happy not seeing that. I'm okay with that. So, I'll stay here.
But anyway.
But yeah, no. So like, I'll try to finish this point that I was on before the tangent. But yeah, I read the 26-hour audiobook about Nazi Germany, and the way like Muhammad conducted himself was very similar to the way Hitler conducted himself. Hitler was probably a lot more explosive, and definitely, but the way that they did not tolerate dissent was the same. And Muhammad obviously, like, Muhammad was not a prophet; he was just a narcissist who couldn't take rejection,
basically,
because he believed he made up all the stuff about himself, right? And then he's like, "Oh, I'll go to the Jews and they will confirm me." And then they were like, "Who are you?" They're like, "No." And then he's like, "Okay, well, the Christians, they'll confirm me." And they're all like, "No, like, we don't know who you are. You definitely ain't a prophet."
Like, there's no prophets prophesied after Jesus, so
exactly. And then that's after all that. That's when it's like, okay, kill them all. They're the infidels.
Yeah, they're the worst of creatures.
Yeah, it's like, but in the beginning, he's praising them, and so the more you understand about Islam, the more it's like you can actually see. Because I didn't know about this. I just kind of understood what everyone talks about in Islam, because it turns out almost nobody has an understanding of Islam. Not even Muslims have an understanding of Islam, as I am very quickly finding out.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, the more you start to understand about it, the more it never, ever, ever makes sense. Because, like, I'm not saying another religion will make enough sense to make me want to believe in it, but a lot, like cults, in some way, you can kind of see, like, okay, I can see how these people were misled. I can see how they bought into it. For Muslims, it's like, I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it. How do you see something like that, even under threat of death, and go, yeah, he's a prophet? It wasn't part of it like he got a revelation because he was wearing his wife's clothes?
Yes. Well, that and yes.
It's like, yeah.
We'll keep it at that for now.
And then, of course, like,
maybe we'll talk more about it later.
Yeah. And then, of course, like, the angel Gabriel can't appear if there's a dog present.
Right? That's why they hate dogs.
Because like, being such as an angel can be limited by a creature of a fallen world that was created after it.
Yeah. Also, by the way, he definitely had a male lover.
Urs.
No.
Plural.
A different one.
Oh, a different one?
Different story.
Okay. Well, I think because wasn't that the guy, like, every time he came by?
He'd be like, oh, that was the angel Gabriel.
Yeah.
I'm going to give me a revelation. They're like, we know we could see you, right?
Yeah.
It was like, we know who that is.
And wasn't it like the men of Al Zut or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, that he would go and...
The night of Al Zut.
Yeah.
The greatest night of all.
He was so exhausted and had to lay on the lap of another man
yeah.
And couldn't sit down.
Yeah, well, the other guy was afraid. let's just say the other guy was so afraid of what was happening to Muhammad that he quickly sat on his butt. He was like, that ain't happened to me.
He's like, exit only, buddy, exit only.
Nope. So, anyway.
But yeah, that's our take with a couple side rants about books in Jurassic Park. Yes. But I had to get that out there. Again, it wouldn't be a true Tar Talk if we didn't take a rabbit trail.
Right.
But yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends, let us know what you think.
Yep. All the Muslims, tell us why we're completely wrong about Islam.
And tell us why you want to kill us. And then I dare you to try. Because that's probably not going to work out for you.
No.
No.
It's like, I won't say anything. But anyway.
No. But yeah, y'all
have a good one.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Bye.